Welcome back. In the last session we were discussing about different form elements in HTML, and we have seen how to create text box, password, radio buttons, checkboxes and a submit button. And our form was looking like this: registration form, a text box is this one, password field, a radio button, checkbox and a submit button. Today we will continue creating our form. Suppose you want the user to enter his address. Address will have multiple lines of text. Text box can be used for getting input which contains only single line. But if you want to get multiple line input, then you can use another tag. It is not of input tag, it is a separate tag called text area. Okay, so text area tag, closing tag is /text area, and we have to give what should be entered. So let's say address. So text area /text area, let's put a line break after the address and see the change in the browser. So this is the text area. This is a multi-line. Text box is a single line. You cannot press enter and go to the next line. But in text area, you can give address, press enter and then keep on typing. So this is a multi-line text input field. A scroll bar will come automatically if your text goes beyond the visible area. So we can scroll this up and down to see the content. Also you can drag it to see the content. So this is text area. This text area has two attributes, rows and cos. You can give values as rows is equal to 10, some number, and cos is equal to say 50. So let's see the change. So rows specifies the number of rows visible at a particular point of time. Now there are 10 rows visible. You can enter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 10 lines you can enter here, and 100 letters can be displayed. So that is specified, 50 letters can be displayed, that is specified in cos field. So basically this is the height of the text area and this is the width of the text area in number of lines and number of characters. So these two attributes can be used if you want to specify the height and width of the text area. Okay, so let's remove this now. So this will be some default value and your text area will look like this. And next, so this is about text area. It is used to specify a multi-line text entry area. Two main attributes: rows specifies the number of lines, cos specifies the number of characters or number of letters in each line. So this is an example. Okay, so if you give some value in between, say some NASC in between this text area, then that value will be appearing inside. This is the default value. You can delete it, enter a new value. Okay, so if you want some default value, you can put it in between text area and /text area. So that's it about text area tag. Next we will see how to create a drop down list in HTML. Drop down list can be created using two tags, select tag and option tag. So let's create a drop down list first. Suppose you want to get the state from which the student belongs or district from which the student belongs. So you can say district. You can always put a text box here, input type is equal to text. But the problem with that is that, some students will spell Kasaragod as Kasargod, some other will say as Kasaragod. So there will be different kinds of spellings for the same district. To avoid that, you can give the district in a list and the user can select from the list. Such a list is called a drop down list. So I'll show you how to create that. So district, let's say the tag used is select and the closing tag is /select, and each item in the list is put in between option tag, option and /option. Say Kasaragod, let's say some 3 or 4 districts, Kannur, Wayanad, Kozhikode, Malappuram, and so on. So let's save this file, go back to the browser. Let's also put some line break at the end of the select. Go back to the browser, refresh. This is the drop down list that we have just created. So if you click on the arrow mark, you can see all the districts getting displayed there. You can select one of them. Okay, so this is how we can create a drop down list in HTML. The tags used are select tag and option tag. So the select tag is used to create a drop down list, and the option tags inside the select tag defines the available options in the list. The select tag has some attributes such as multiple and size. Multiple specifies that multiple options can be selected at once, and size defines a number of visible options in a drop down list. So let's see size first. Size is equal to, say, 2. Save the file, go back to the browser, refresh. Now you can see the list has been changed to a list which displays 2 items at a time. You can scroll down and see other options here. So if you want to display a list like this, then you can specify the size. If you don't specify a list, then only one item will be shown, and then you can get other items by clicking on the arrow mark. Another option that you can have is the multiple attribute, and if I just say multiple, no value should be given for this attribute. Let's see the change. Now you can see the list is again changed to a list from which you can select items. But this list has an extra feature. You can select multiple items from the list. So for example, I want to select Kasaragod. Press the Ctrl key on your keyboard and click the other item that you want. So this way you can select multiple items. So if you want your list to be like this, then put the multiple attribute for the select tag. So normally for a district, a person will have only one district as his native district. So it is better to avoid that. So let's go back to the normal mode. So this is about select tag and the option tag within the select tag. This has also an attribute called value attribute. This is used when you are submitting the form to a server. For example, the value attribute is for option tag. See here, an example is given. Maruti, value is Maruti, Honda, value is Honda, like that it will go. And when you submit this form, the other end of the communication, that is a server, will receive this value when you select Maruti. It will get the value Honda when you select Honda. So the value may be given for each option when you are submitting the form. But currently we are not discussing about submission of the form, we are discussing only about designing the form. So the value attribute will not have any effect on the look of the drop down list. Okay, so this is about select tag. Next we will see some attributes of form tag, but before that, let's see what is meant by labeling and grouping of form elements. You can always give some labels for your input type elements. So let's see what is meant by that. So labeling means you can give a label for a text in HTML. Let's take an example here. So the name is the first input element in this particular example, and if you see this thing, the name is the first input, and you can click inside the text box to enter some text in the text box. If you click on the name, nothing happens. If you click on password, nothing happens. So if I want something to happen when you click on name, then you can put a label for the name. So let's see that change here. I'm putting this inside a label tag, name, and a slash label, and for the input type is equal to text, I'm using one more attribute, and that attribute is called ID attribute. ID is equal to, let's give some ID here, any ID can be given. I'm giving an ID student name. Okay, so what we have done now is save the file, no changes here, but if I click on this, you can type in some text. If I click on the label, nothing happens. So till now there is no change to our form. But now if I say label 4 is an attribute for the label tag, and we can give a value student name here. Okay, so now this name is a label for student name. So who is student name? Student name is the text box. Now let's save this file, go back to the browser, refresh. If I click on the name, then you can see the cursor is inside the text box. So this is the use of label tag. Now you can go to some other field. If you want to get back to the name field, there are two options. Either you can click on the text box, or you can click on the label name, then also you can type in there. So this is the use of label. So if you want, you can give a label for other tags also, password and other things like address and so on. So this is one way for specifying label for an input field. This method is known as explicit labeling. So label tag is used to define relationship between a form control such as a text input field and one or more text labels. A label can be associated with a form in two ways. Explicit association using 4 attributes, that is what we have seen now. Label for some text for SSN, this value should be coming as an ID for the input type. And another method for associating a label with the form control is just remove this 4 attribute. You don't need this ID, but put the closing tag at the end of the input control. So now it looks like this, label, like this. So label slash label name, input type is equal to text, size is equal to 10, max length is equal to 10, and now everything is between a label. So let's see the change. You can click on this, and then again you can see the cursor is inside the text box. So this way of associating a label with a form control is known as implicit association. So let's try one more labeling. This is implicit. Let's try an explicit association for the password. So let's put a label slash label, and then we need to give an ID for this form control. Let's give an ID as PW, and let's say 4 is equal to PW. So this is explicit association, this is implicit association. Save the file, go back to the browser, refresh. Now you can click on name, click on password. So this will bring the cursor into the form control. So this is known as labeling. Next we will see how to group form elements. Grouping is done using 2 tags, field set and the legend tag. So let's try that in our example. So this is our form. We will try to group the name and gender into one group. So just before the name, use the field set tag and close this field set just before or just after the gender. Okay, field set and closing tag. So this part is our group, the name and gender. This is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. And a legend should be given for this group. Legend is given like this, legend, and let's say personal information slash legend is the closing tag. Save the file. So we have created a group with the two form elements, the name and the text box, gender and the radio buttons. So the grouping is done using the field set and the legend tag. So save this file, go back to the browser, refresh. You can see now there is a grouping of elements. See, this is the legend that we have given, personal information, and there is a box coming around the two controls. In fact, there are three controls, name, password and gender, because we have a name here, password here, gender here. So all these are grouped. So this is done for grouping things together so that it will be easy for the user to read the form. So if you want, you can group other things also into separate groups. So the tags used are field set and the legend. So this is how we can put labels and group the form elements in HTML. And last, we will see some of the attributes of the form tag itself. Particularly, we will discuss about the action attribute and the method attribute. So this action attribute is used for specifying what should happen when you submit the form. So see this example, form action is equal to action page.php. This is just an example PHP file. So PHP is something that we will learn in the 4th or the 5th unit of this course. PHP is used for processing the form elements. Some information will be given in the form, and when you submit the form, something should happen to that information. What should happen is written in this file. We have to write this file. So that file name is given as the value for the action attribute. So right now we are not giving any action here because we haven't created any PHP file yet. So we are not giving it here. Suppose if you want to give a PHP file, you can specify action is equal to some sample.php file. So it defines action to be performed when the form is submitted using a submit button. Normally the form is submitted to a web page on a server. So you will be sitting on your computer. When you click the submit button, all the information in the form will be transferred to a computer known as a server. That server will have this PHP file. That PHP file will process the content of your form. So that is the use of this action attribute. The next attribute of the form tag is the method attribute. This method attribute can have two values, get or post. So let's try that here. See this, if I say get, method is equal to get and save the file, there won't be any changes in the visible, there won't be any changes in the form. But if I submit this form by giving some name and clicking on the register, you can see a change here. See what happened is sample.php is here. Your file was not found because we haven't created PHP file, and a question mark comes here, and after that you can see gender is equal to F. Let's go back to that. So we have selected female, so that is why gender comes here. And if I give a name for this, see the name text box is this one, and suppose I am giving a name for this text box, name is equal to student name. Save the file, go back to the browser, refresh. If I say some name here and click on submit or register button, see the change here. This is now the form.html. I have given action as sample.php. So when I click the submit button, all the content should be submitted to sample.php. And the method for submission is the get method. So let's see what is get method. See, now you are getting your file was not found because we don't have a sample.php file. But after that, you can see student name is equal to name and gender is equal to F and so on. So when you submit a form using get method, all the form values will be visible in the URL of the browser. All the values of the form elements will be visible in the URL. The student name is equal to some name and gender is equal to F. So this is the get method. Okay, so let's see the explanation here. When get is used, the form data will be visible in the page URL separated by a question mark character. Get is used when transmitting small forms with a few fields. So you will use the get method when you are submitting only very few fields, such as this one. But the other method, post method, is used when you have a lot of data in the form and when you have some sensitive data in the form, such as the password. Imagine you are submitting this form using get method, then whatever you enter in the password will be visible here. Then the secrecy is lost. So in that situation, it is always better to use a post method. So let's try that. Instead of get, if I use post, refreshing it, if I give some value here and register, you can see sample.php and there is no question mark, nothing after the URL. So this is the post method. So we won't see much details about this one, but you just remember there are two methods for submitting a form, and that is get method and the post method. So with the post method, the browser sends the data in two steps. First, the browser makes a contact with the server, and once the contact is made, sends the data to the server in a separate transmission. Post method is used when transmitting forms that have many fields. There is a mistake here, it should be read as many fields. Post method is used when transmitting sensitive information such as password, credit card details, etc. So when the get is used, you will be sending only some very minimal data and that does not have any secrecy in it. So these are the two different methods of form submission. So with this, we have come to the end of the second module of the course, and in the next module we will see how to create frames in HTML. Okay, so see you in the next session. Thank you.